Okay guys, back with another update from UC Organic Gardening, the Urban Garden, St. Louis, Missouri. Ferguson, actually. So as you can see, last time we talked about the first bed, which was corn, beans, and okra. Today we're going to talk about the second, third bed, and we're going to talk about harvesting today as well. Now, as you can see, I did a little harvesting today. We've got beans. These are early peas. This is definitely enough to uh, create a dinner for my family. First up, let's look at zucchini. As you can see, plenty of flowers. Now, I've already harvested 4 zucchini. Let's take it around to the other side and show you. Now, because of the weird weather we've been having here in St. Louis, I've been hand pollinating. Haven't seen a lot of bees, which is very disturbing, but we do what we have to as farmers, as gardeners, right? So as you can see, I've got nice zucchini right there, definitely pollinated. So that one is growing, getting large. I've got another zucchini right there, and you can see lots of flowers coming out. Over here we've got a small zucchini developing. That flower will probably open tomorrow, and definitely I will hand pollinate that. Now the hand pollination is coming from just a Q-tip, removing pollen from the male flower and pollinating the female flower. As you can see, there are lots of male flowers all over. Moving right along, eggplant is moving a little slow, but I'm suspecting that it's due to the cool weather that we've been having. I've got growth coming out the center, which is looking pretty good. So I'm expecting them to take off and develop as the temperature warms up. As you can see, I've got beans. They're holding their own. They're just steady. These are Blue Lake bush bean. These are the purple pods. As you can see, they're standing nice and tall and firm. They're going to be producing real soon, guys. Real soon. Now, as you can look down the row here from the last video, look at that phenomenal growth. This is Swiss chard in the first one. The second row, we've got cabbage. As you can see, they are starting to bend leaves, as I'm assuming they're going to form the head. That cauliflower, and then on the far end, broccoli. Now the broccoli seems to be the fastest growing out of all of these Brussels. Their height is phenomenal. Look at that. We're talking phenomenal growth here, guys. All the way down. Check that out. Remember we talked about the melons? Look how fast they're growing. They're on the wire. Tendrils grabbing hold. I've got flowers. Look at all those leaves. Nice. Very nice. So as you can see, that second bed is doing just as well as the first bed. We've got lots of growth. The temperature is warming up. We're getting plenty of rain. Lots and lots of rain. Over to the next bed, which will be bed number 3. As you can see, plenty of growth on my melons here. Flowers everywhere. They're beginning to vine, so I'll be tying those guys up real soon. tomatoes are producing nicely. Look at that. That is a nice tomato. These on the far end down here are the Brandywine. Look, we got flowers and tomatoes all over. As you can see, clean stalks. Keeping those bad boys pruned to prevent disease. Now, I use zip ties to tie those up to the fence. They seem to do very well for me with a lot of the things that I do in the garden as far as tying. As you can see, tomatoes, flowers everywhere. Tomatoes, flowers. Now, these are all heirloom seeds that I used to start these tomatoes. And I can tell you, some of them are very large tomatoes. They're clumping together to give you those odd shapes, unlike you see in the grocery store, which is fine with me. My family and I will eat them just the same. Doesn't matter. Here we go. More tomatoes. Look at these cherry tomatoes, guys. Look at that cluster. Now that is a beautiful cluster of tomatoes. We've got one developing here. We've got flower cluster here. We got flower cluster there. And we got flower clusters up here. So that's just one plant split with 2 vines. And as you can see, tomatoes are all over the place. Now I've got about 8 cherry tomato plants. And as you can see, flowers, tomatoes all over. I've got about 8 Brandywine tomatoes as well. And further down, we come to more tomatoes. These are steak tomatoes. And you can see the stalk is huge, large stalk. So that tells you you're going to have large tomatoes. So tomatoes are holding their own. They're doing very well. Again, about 28 feet of tomatoes. About 8 different vines of each one. In between, we've got onion. Obviously doing very well. You can see how large and tall they're getting. So we are definitely getting onions, guys. Look at that stalk. Large. We can even see onions down. I like it. We've got our beans. Actually, early peas. As you can see, we've got plenty and plenty of peas. This is where I picked the peas from earlier. If I don't pick the peas, the flowers will not cease to exist. So if I want the plant to continue to produce beans and pea pods, flowers, I have to pick those beans as they grow and develop. As you can see, I still have lots and lots left. I'll be picking probably every 2 or 3 days. Now this is Father's Day, Sunday afternoon, in the afternoon, evening. Again, the melons, my potatoes are definitely ready to be pulled. They're dying back even further than they were before. I should have plenty of potatoes underneath there, ready for the eating. I'm looking forward to that. Fresh food, guys. The last bed, as you can see, phenomenal growth here again. As you can see, lettuce. We've harvested lettuce about 4 times since we have started the garden. Each time we yield about 3 to 4 pounds of lettuce. Now, guys, that's way too much lettuce for my family and I to eat. What we do is we share this with our neighbors, co-workers. As you can see, let me show you what the stalks look like. As you can see how we've been harvesting the lettuce. See how bare that stalk is? We pull that lettuce and just let it continue to grow up. Now, it's getting warmer, so let me see if I can show you. That lettuce is almost ready to bolt. So as the season gets into the summer, lettuce slows down on growth and begins to flower so that it can seed. Again, phenomenal growth throughout the entire garden. As you can see here, that is arugula. Flowered, and we got a nice bee, wasp, doing its thing. That's what you get with organic gardening, guys. You get the good bugs as well as the bad ones. You just have to deal with them. As you can see, the beets, we're constantly harvesting beets, maybe once a week. Now, keep in mind, the purpose of doing all this is so that I don't have to buy food from the market, from the grocery store. And trust me, guys, I have not. When I want some vegetables, I come right out to the garden. Look at those carrots. Phenomenal growth on those carrots. Absolutely beautiful. Man, you know it's nice carrots underneath there. Matter of fact, let's pull one up and take a look. See if we can find us a carrot and see how they're doing. See how thick and dense this is? I actually need to get underneath here and thin this out. Because if I don't, those carrots are going to stay small and they're going to be baby carrots. Which is fine, they're just as tasty. But we want to pull out some good big carrots. Let's see if we can pull out a carrot and see how big they are. Now that is a decent baby carrot. This is the shorter version. There's 2 varieties. I've got the long and I've got the short version. Now this is one of the short versions. It won't get too much longer, but it will get fat, as you can tell. So I would say we've probably got about another month on carrots, and those things should be ready to harvest. This I'm definitely gonna snack on. Nice. And the smell, phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal smell. The last thing I'm going to show you is butternut squash. Look at that. Butternut squash. It's starting to produce. I've got butternut squash everywhere. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Butternut squash, and look at all those male flowers down below. See, that is a male flower right there. There is no butternut squash underneath it or behind it. But as you come up the vine, there's the female with the butternut squash on it. So again, this has been trimmed to reduce disease so I can get a good airflow and manage the growth of the plant. Because check this out. If you don't have the bees to pollinate, you won't get fruit. So I will ensure great pollination by hand pollinating as well. as allowing the bees to do their thing. So, again, it's my weekly update. UC Organic Gardening. Harvesting, watching the growth, enjoying the therapy of gardening. Until next time, guys, happy gardening.